saying congratulations on getting into the Documentary Film Festival. We are so excited about this festival, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's pretty awesome to be a part of it, and also now to be a finalist in the thing as well is pretty cool.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about your documentary, Mental as Anything.
Well, Mental as Everything was a stage show, and it came about from just conversations I would have about my own experience with mental illness, with one of the other guys that I used to play, or still play, in other bands with. I do shows, write shows, and we go around and tour them around Australia. And long story short, from there, all the conversations about mental health, then I thought, well, why don't I put this into an idea, get it on stage, and talk to people about it and see what it'd be like. And it's been pretty successful for us, and we're getting the word out as far as mental health awareness. We're removing stigma, one person at a time. And so then eventually, to answer your question, Adam and I, doing this show, we got asked to do, given some money actually through Regional Arts Victoria and Creative Victoria to do the filmed version of the show. And I just didn't want to do a filmed version of the live show. We'd filmed it before, and I thought, let's do something a bit cooler, a bit more unique, something to even push this message a bit further, and we can try and be funny and get our music out there as well in the film. And then it was born. It became a film, and it was pretty amazing to think now that happened, because this time last year we weren't even thinking about doing this film. It was just not on the horizon, and I'd never made a film before, so it's pretty cool.
How difficult was it for you to first talk about your mental health in public like that with a show? Because I know for myself, I suffer from anxiety. It took me about 15, 16 years to start talking about that on air. How difficult was that for you to actually start to put that out there into the public?
Well, firstly, that's amazing that you do that, because of what the question is. It is a difficult thing to do. There's a process. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes you can talk on stage about it or on air about it, or to a friend or to a group, and you can leave that conversation and go home and feel like crying because you've said too much. So I think it's an amazing thing that you're doing with that. And as far as, us going ahead and doing it, I don't know, it happened pretty quickly. We get on stage, we talk about it, it made us feel reasonably good doing so, and we knew that we were, pushing this message across while doing it. So, and I think because I speak so much and I'm an idiot, I missed the initial question again. What was it again?
Oh, I was just wondering, for you personally, how difficult was it for you to be so vulnerable, I guess, on stage and to talk about your own mental health?
Of course, yeah. I started well with answering that and just turned to Cook. But look, it's one of those things that you have to be vulnerable to get up there and talk about a lot of things, and this is something that is difficult. But you get past that. But I think, as I said before, is that sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes I've been at a particular place with my own mental health. I have a bipolar disorder, bipolar 2, and that sometimes, depending on where you're at with that, with the spectrum, as it were, whether you're experiencing highs or lows, it can be difficult. Sometimes it's easy. If I'm feeling low and I have a very low self-esteem at that point, sometimes I come off stage and I just start thinking about what the audience thought, and it goes from there, it snowballs. But generally speaking, I love the fact that, to answer the question way more beautifully, I think that doing this, as opposed to just writing songs about, chicks and cars, as traditionally songwriters have done for years and things like that, I find that now that we're writing about mental health, it's very pleasing to me and fulfilling.
Definitely. And you mentioned before that you'd never made a film before. Tell us a little bit about that process of turning the stage show into a film. Was that a pretty difficult process to go through?
It was difficult, probably more on a tech side of things. learning to do certain things I hadn't done before. I started by just writing down all the chapters of the 1 hour show, which technically would be about an hour and a half because we've chopped a lot. So I just pushed it all onto a piece of paper, and then just worked out how I was going to do it. But when you've got a little bit of money, it's easier to make the decision of who's going to. Am I going to be in front of a camera, or is someone going to be filming me? When you've got money, you can get someone to film you as opposed to set up a tripod in your room. So this professional element came across with the film because of that. But I mean, I have been making little films since I was a kid. I used to snatch my friends' camcorders away from them and borrow it for a couple of days, and used to make films and edit with VCRs and stuff. So I've always been extremely interested in it, as well as writing. So I think that's why it came very easy. Once I started it, it just felt like it was, a couple of breaths. I looked up and suddenly I just mastered the entire thing, and it was just a beautiful experience. Is
filmmaking something now that you would like to go on with, or do you think you'll go back to stage work as well?
That's a great question, and I think there are a few things that I do, and it's not because I'm generally really great at doing a whole lot of things. That may be an outcome, but really what's happened is I've had to do things in order to go forward, particularly with COVID. So I'm currently writing a book, which no one knows because it probably doesn't really matter, but it gives you an example of something I'm trying to do. I hope that will be the third part of Mental is Everything, being film and the stage show now done. But as far as filming, I really love it, and I love being around creative people, and there's so much you can do with film these days. I think it's a bit easier for us. There's people doing YouTube channels, and they're doing great things, and it's just learning how to chop all those little tiny things into a big film. So I'm definitely excited about doing something, and in fact I have something I'm wanting to start as soon as possible, but I'll probably need about $200 million in order to do it, so I'll just have to wait for a bit.
Yeah. Now, as you mentioned before, you are a finalist. How does it feel being a finalist, and how did you find out that you were a finalist?
Well, there's a thing, a channel online, a website, as you're probably aware, that filmmakers will use in order to prepare and get their stuff ready and submit for festivals, being Film Freeways. So that sends a lot of messages your way about what's happening, what the people of the festivals are thinking of your film, and so I get most of the information through that. But I did actually read this the other day on the website without actually receiving that information from Film Freeway. So that was direct from the Melbourne Documentary Film Fest in an email. And I mean, it's pretty nice to wake up in the morning and see that your film's been selected. We've been selected for a festival in Chicago now, Canberra, the Ballerine Film Festival, or North Ballerine Film Festival, and a couple more are coming through now. So the way I feel about that, to answer your question, is it's remarkable. I spend most of my life feeling pretty crappy about myself. I'm not sure why. I have enough peers and people to sort of say, hey, you're great at what you do. 4 weeks ago, I won an award for composing a theme song for a TV show that I didn't think I was going to win. And so life is fantastic, but I do sort of get down on myself. So to receive this news every now and then, it just peps you up a bit. It's a great thing. You don't expect it.
Definitely. And this is such an amazing film. Will you aim to give it a life after the film festival circuit as well? Like, will you try and get this out there into a regular cinema run or a streaming run? What's the plans after the film festival run?
Sensational question. So, I mean, I wanted to screen it this year, and because it still remains the property until the end of October, it remains the property of Regional Arts Victoria, along with myself. So the trick was, once that little contract is over, which is, we're about to do a whole bunch of shows for October, but they've been cancelled. So the point of the film, or the live performance, as they call it, digital live performance, is to show it to the audiences that have spent money on our live show, and they can go and watch this in their lounge rooms from home. So once that is over, I'll be doing everything you just said. I have already tried. I think we'll be successful with getting screenings. I'd like to go to regional Australia and do some things. As far as the streaming thing goes, I have actually sent out, over a dozen, maybe 25 emails to streaming companies, and have found the process pretty exhausting. However, I'm always sending out emails to 50 to 100 people with my music over the years, and I was so surprised to get over half of the emails I sent out came back, and these people were so willing to help and to tell me what I could be doing. But to answer the question, because of the subject matter, one may think that I'd have a shoe-in, as it were, because mental health is an extremely important subject. But it's actually not like that. It's hard to place this, and that's what I'm hearing a lot. So I'm hoping to get it into, education, to schools, that sort of stuff. But I don't know if it's going to be the sort of thing you'd find on Netflix. I'm hearing that it's probably not. So I'll just work as hard as I can to do that. And if you have any ideas, let me know.
Definitely, I will do. Well, mate, I want to finish off the interview by saying again, congratulations on being a finalist for the festival. And is there anything you'd like to say to our listeners out there before they get another chance to sit down and watch Mental as Everything?
Well, not really. Just, the fact that they might sit down and there's a possible opportunity for them to do that now that they're streaming streaming in October for the film festival, Melbourne Documentary Film Festival. It's great that you can do that. So we hope that you all enjoy it, and we really hope that you dig the music as well. We're musicians, first and foremost. So, get into it and have a crack at it and like it. That would be amazing. And if you don't like it, that's also fine. So